She's one of the top reporters here at the Post and Courier. But before newspapers, Natalie Caula Hauff was one of the top reporters at Channel 4. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I talk with her one-on-one. Natalie, I know that you have been covering a lot of stories for the Post and Courier. So describe to me the following one word: the Gil McCaffrey case.
Unfinished, definitely.
The case, Chris Latham and Wendy Moore case.
That one is bizarre,
just
because of all the twists and turns and the new information that would come out, and it was very, very interesting case, especially being in the trial. You got to hear so much of it for those 3 weeks. So.
The New Year's Day shootings in North Charleston.
Those were tragic because it's just senseless and didn't have to happen.
Right. And of course I knew Janet Royal because her and I worked in the market.
That's right, that's so sad.
Let's talk about the Ravenel Bridge shutdown in January.
I think everyone has a word for that one, and it's Ravalanche, and that's just the power of social media that shows you how powerful it can be.
Yes. And as we talk about news stories, let's talk about you as a reporter here at the Post and Courier. You have been covering breaking news and criminal justice since 2012. Tell me, how's that going?
It's going fantastic, busy. It's just so much to cover, and you know, news never sleeps. So always trials, always arrests, and that's the focus that I have. So so yeah, it's always very busy.
Yes, and you know, a lot of Charlestonians knew that you're really the top reporter at Channel 4. I think so.
Thanks.
From 2007 to 2012. Walk me down memory lane and tell me, how did you arrive here at the Post and Courier?
Well, I had been with Channel 4 for 5 years, and it was great, and I learned so much, and I got really familiar with the market and the people here, and I just wanted to kind of just move in a different direction and grow a little bit professionally, and I loved, one of my favorite things when I was at Channel 4, we were starting to do a lot of the website, and more web, and writing more articles for the web, and I loved that part of it. So it was just, I guess, natural when I saw that there was an opening at the Post and Courier. I thought, well, that could really be a new challenge for me. And it was, you know, something to learn. It's a completely different way of writing, a new form, and it was so exciting, though, to learn something new and be able to tackle it. So.
Yeah. And let's continue to stay with Channel 4, because obviously you've covered a lot of stories there. So tell me, what particular story sticks out in your mind?
At Channel 4, I did a lot with the aftermath of the Sofa Superstore. I think one of the things I was most proud of was I did a 30-minute special on the 5-year anniversary. And it was like my life for like a month. Produced it, helped edit, and I had great people helping me. So it was, I thought it turned out really well, and I hope that it was an honor, kind of honoring those that were lost, and for the families, just to make sure they knew that we haven't forgotten.
And you know, a lot of people who have come to Charleston really started here, and this is, you know, a great start for them as far as television news, because most of them came straight out of college, and it was no different with you.
That's right. When you are looking for that first TV job, some people can say it's a nightmare, and it is, because you have no idea where you're going to end up, and you have no idea whether to aim high or low. I mean, you're right out of school, so I applied probably to 40 different places, sent my tapes out, and I think I got 2 or 3 calls. I was really lucky that Charleston called, because I came here, did the interview, and I totally fell in love with it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was very lucky.
And I heard it was Syracuse that was the upmarket?
Yes, Syracuse called and they said, "Oh, well, we have a part-time job for you. Would you be interested?" And I was like,
"No.
I'm Cuban, it's really cold up there, and that's part-time? No, it's not going to happen."
You can keep that.
So I ended up with the beach, so I'm happy.
I know, right? I love the beaches here.
Exactly.
And let's go back to your time as a star college student at the University of Florida. Describe to me who Natalie Caula was as a student.
I would think it was a little bit of everything at Florida. You know, it's a fun school. It's a fun party school, and it was, and it has obviously a great football team. So had a lot of fun tailgating, going to the games, and experiencing that part of college. But the journalism program is just so amazing over there, and I really was able to take advantage of all the programs they had. I worked at the TV station, the radio station, and if I wasn't at my apartment, I was usually at school or at the TV station.
Wow.
Also did morning edition, so I'd get in there at 5 a.m.
Yikes.
Yeah, and I was the only one in there. It was like I was by myself in this building, and there was like an a switch operator.
Yeah.
And it was like that was it. But it was like one of the most fun times. It was fantastic because you're learning, and so it was great.
And speaking of learning, let's talk about your high school years at Braddock High School.
Braddock was interesting, just because it was such a big school. There were 6,000 kids.
Wow.
My graduating class was 1,400 people.
Wow.
So you can imagine it was a long graduation ceremony.
Yeah, exactly.
But Braddock was fantastic, and because I guess the perk of it being so big is that there were all these great AP classes, and I was in drama club and every club I wanted to be in, so it was a great place to be.
And as we talk about big, let's talk about Miami, where you grew up. I mean, we think of beaches and, you know, great food and the great weather, but how do you describe Miami?
Miami is nuts. And you know, everyone is different and they like love certain things, and I love the culture of Miami. That's probably the number one thing I miss next to my family.
Sure.
Is just that culture. You know, I'm Cuban and I grew up with that around me, and you know, going to the bakery and having cafecito, and like
I like that.
Yeah, I love that. And actually, my family, you know, my husband,
Yeah.
I get to make those things for him, and he loves it. He's an honorary Cuban,
Yeah.
and so I love that part of Miami. But it's also just, first of all, it's so hot. I mean, it's definitely hot in Charleston, but it is so hot and humid down there, and it's just so crazy with all the people. The traffic is a nightmare. My brother's an attorney, and he talks about the commute. It's like an hour to get to work, an hour to get back. I'm like, it takes me 8 minutes.
Yeah, just to get here.
Right. So it's just a different fit for everyone. He loves it despite that commute. So I just fell in love with Charleston because it's just got, I think, the best of every world.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yes, and I totally agree. And this is home. So let's fill in the blanks. Marrying Chris on November 9th, 2013
was exciting and fantastic and the best day of my life.
Yes.
You know, all cheesy.
I know.
But he's fantastic, and it was a beautiful wedding that my family put together.
Yeah.
They worked their butts off and made it everything that I wanted it to be. So.
And, you know, let's talk about when he proposed to you, because he took you to the end of Folly Beach, and it was the Morris Island Lighthouse, that is?
That's right. We went out there, and a friend of ours, Sydney, she's a photographer, and he plotted with her and had her hiding in the brush and bushes. The poor girl was out there in the sand, and so that's a true friend, you know.
Yes.
And so she was out there, and she captured the moment, and so the photos are out there on Facebook, and it was great, and it was such an exciting time. I knew he was up to something, though.
Yeah.
You know, he was being way too romantic.
That was a good one.
But it was great.
Yeah. And speaking of, you know, plotting, I mean, I loved how I heard the story about him going out to dinner with you guys, well, you and a couple of producers once a week, and it was mostly women, and eventually, you know, the group got smaller.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. you know your stories. I got to find out who your sources are. Yeah, no, he was very sneaky because we would go out to these dinners once a week. We're all about the same age, so it was all these girls, producers and other reporters, and after work we'd get out at around 6:30 or 7 and we'd go to dinner, and somehow Chris finagled his way he would get into that group, and he came out to dinner with us, the only guy, and that's how I got to know him, because otherwise it was just so busy. He was one of the producers. I rarely talked to him.
Sure.
And that was the only reason that I probably really got to know him. So he was sneaky.
That's awesome.
So
you know, Natalie Caula is
ambitious.
Yes.
That's a tough one, you know, describing yourself. But I think ambitious and hardworking.
Oh, yeah.
I love, you know, putting out something that's just whether it's a story or a photo or just anything, whatever it is that I do, I hope that I do it with the most effort. So.
Yeah. Interning at WPLG.
That was exciting, and it was just like, I don't know the right word to describe it, but it was something new, you know, so you didn't know what it was like to really be a reporter. And in Miami, I mean, being a reporter there is insane. So it was in the mornings, it was like I did the 2 a.m. shift, but it was exciting but scary. And then being out in, you know, this crime-ridden areas of Miami at 2 a.m., so that's where the scary goes in.
I was going to say, yeah. Tony and Vilmar.
Oh, they're my parents, and they are amazing. So they were both, of course, at the wedding,
Sure.
and they gave me everything I wanted for the wedding. They made it beautiful, and they, with Cuban families, we're very, very loud, very close,
Yeah.
big families,
Yes.
and so I keep in. I mean, we're still very close, and
Of course.
I'm going down in December to see
Okay.
them, so I'm happy.
Yes, indeed. Your future is.
It is exciting.
Yes.
Because I'm just got married,
Yes.
and so there's always a lot of exciting things ahead, and I have great friends, so
Oh, yes.
it's gonna be good. I hope.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, Natalie Caula Hauff, it was so great talking to you.
Thank you so much. It's always great to see you.
You too.